Hey guys, welcome to Project Metal Music's YouTube channel with your host Elion, and we are here with the brilliant Carlos from Afterdome. Welcome, Carlos.
Thanks for having me in this podcast. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure, my pleasure. Carlos, could you tell us what you do within the band?
This is a solo, one-man project until now. I started it in 2023 and started playing all the instruments, singing, playing bass, guitar, and also configuring and creating all the drums. Um, the main cause that I did this because I didn't have my musical background, and my friends and my circle of musicians, of friend musicians, do not include metal musicians from the past. So no one was really interested in playing metal, and 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 I lost the track and lost the train long ago regarding having friends that are in the metal scene here in Portugal. So I started doing it alone. I had this dream of doing my own album. I thought I had to do it with other musicians, but nowadays with the evolution of technology in music, I think we can do it alone with a lot of quality from your own studio at home. Um, so I started working on my songs, creating them from scratch. Started learning to play guitar 2 years ago because I was a professional bassist all my life and mostly on my first 20 years as a musician, and only played different kinds of music, not metal. But I was always in love with metal, so I had to do something about metal in my life because I played a lot of styles since I was a kid, and I had a band right at the beginning when I was 13 years old with my father and my brother. So we played all kinds of venues that you can think of, and we are now living, traveling across the country, playing in all kind of places, bars, weddings, all that you can think. And it was a really nice way to earn a living here. Very hard because we played every day, almost every day. I remember in 2001 of playing 74 days unstopped. We were very tired. We played two sets a day, 74 days. It was brutal at the time, but gave us a lot of musical background. And I was always in love with metal. I never stopped hearing metal right from the beginning. I started hearing metal around 10, 11 years old. And my greatest influence, of course, was on one of the mainstream bands, not so mainstream at the time. It was Metallica. So it was my greatest influence at the time. I wanted to play. I wanted to play. We kind of played some music in our band, including Metallica songs, but they were kind of a surprise or a gift for some audience that liked that. So the main audience didn't want to hear metal here in Portugal, so they wanted to hear everything else: Brazilian music, Portuguese music, I think some kind of rock also, but hard rock at the most. So metal was always put aside as a way of making a living here. You could not play metal and make a living here. If you see the most famous Portuguese band in the scene is Moonspell. I don't know if you ever heard about them.
Yeah, I have, yeah.
And they became famous in Germany with their dark metal. So here in Portugal, they didn't have a chance to do it, to earn a living doing music. So I did that for 20 years almost, and then I stopped and I concluded my studies in my actual profession. I'm a lawyer, and at a certain point, when I achieved 23 years as a lawyer, I thought I have to do something about music. I have to put out all the creativity that I feel that I have inside me, and the ability to create music structures, guitar riffs, and all that were in my head, and I wanted to put them out there. And then I recorded the first song as a test that I will re-record for this EP. Um, and I thought this kind of works. I'm not playing that bad. I'm learning. I'm starting using the plectrum. I don't know if you know what the plectrum is.
Yeah.
Uh, Plectrum, of course, you know. So I started using the plectrum because I never played with the plectrum. I always use it fingers. But at the guitar, that doesn't work very well with metal. There's a guitar there up there that is called Mancuso, Italian, that plays with your fingers, but it's a very odd thing. And in metal, it doesn't work because you have to do a lot of crispy sounds, and you have to do a lot of percussion sounds on the guitar on your riffs. So I started playing with the plectrum, and I started playing guitar. I was not a bad bassist, and I used to have a lot of things that were unusual here in Portugal. I will always use the 6 string bass. I also did a lot of lead solos. I inclusively used distortion on my bass in my band because we didn't have a guitar. So I used to do some parts in the bass that sounded like a guitar. So I always had the feeling of playing guitar inside me, but I never thought that I could embrace it. So at the beginning of my project, I was creating the guitar riffs, and then I was searching for a guitar player that could fulfill and do all the solos and all that much better than me. But at a certain point, I grew tired of of searching for someone that was interested in my ideas, and I started to doing the solos myself and creating them. So, and they are I did them. So I think I'm very pleased with them. They are not very ambitious. They are very simple, but they kind of fit the song. That's the most important thing for me. And I used all my influences and started studying a little bit on my free time guitar in order to improve my abilities. So the songs are really evolving from the first song because I started launching by launching 3 songs, but then I put them down because my label also told me that I should create a very more quality project. And I started searching for a studio that could improve my sound because I'm recording everything by myself. Didn't have any studio experience before, so I learned all these things by myself using a DAW, recording the instruments one by one, calibrating using a sound platform for the guitars, for the bass, using and creating the drums with the software. I never did that until two years ago. So I started in August 2023, and I already launched 2 songs by now, and have 4 or 6 more to launch. 2 of them this year. So I think I came from a long way to acknowledge that I have this ability. It was on the drawer. I can say that it was on a shelf
Yeah. Yeah.
put there. Stopped, and I said, one day I have to do this for me. I have to put my music out there, and I think things got interested when I started um, showing my music on Groover. I don't know if you know that platform. Groover is a kind of platform where I have some guys that are called curators, and they hear your music and give you some advice and try to connect you with the labels and other musicians, and they give you appreciation of your music. You pay for that, of course. If you want a counsel from a curator, it costs a certain amount. You pay that, and they give you a feedback about your song. In some cases, a little fraud because they give you the same answer to everybody, but some guys are serious and they give you a serious appreciation of your song. That was important for me to understand the market because I want to do my music. I'm completely free. I have a lot of influences, starting by Metallic, of course, but I wanted to do something completely different, but that sounded old, but old metal, but with new influences, with new sounds, with more aggressive drums or a more fresh drum sound. Of course, in guitars, there's not a lot to create from regarding what has been done in the past. But with drumming, you still can do a lot of things that are different and merge the styles in metal. So I'm not a person that believes in sectorizing metal. So I like to sectorize everything and give it labels to each type of band and music. I like to mix it all. So I love Arch Enemy, for instance. They are an incredible band. I was in Paris last year seeing them live. I was in also last year in Malmo seeing them live. I learned a lot seeing them live. I love Michael Ednett. He's an incredible guitarist, incredible, and they give a great show live. I also love Metallica. I've seen a lot of concerts of them. Love Megadeth. Love the old school bands from the '90s because it was my youth back at the '90s. And I think metal you still can do in 2025. I think you can do good metal with the thrash influences, new metal influences, black metal influences. You can merge it all. You don't have to label it. I'm not a big fan of guttural voice. I have to say that. Arch Enemy is an exception. There are some bands that I cannot hear. I cannot stand guttural voice, but them I can stand it because I don't know why. I love Alicia's voice and how they perform live. And the songs are great because they are Swedish and the metal is very melodic. So I come to understand that I have a lot of influences from them because creating the structure of the music, the pre-chorus are very accentuated. The breathing parts of the song before the solos, the constructions in the part of the solo. So the songs are getting big. I understand that's not very commercial. My first music has 6 minutes, and the second one has 6, 7 minutes. I could cut it off. I could take a lot of parts of it, but it would go against my nature and what I'm creating because it's art. So I should be doing freely, doing it freely, and I think I am. So if the song has to have 7 minutes, it has 7 minutes because it makes no sense if it does not have 7 minutes. I created like that, and that structure has has a point. Has a point regarding the theme of the song, soul elevation. For instance, my second song, it starts growing, explain the hardships. Then you enter the chorus. Then you enter in the phase of transitions with solos. The first solo and the second solo with the explosion, and you get back to the chorus, and it's the end. So it's not that complicated, but somehow the music got 7 minutes. So I'm still learning how to do this, reducing the time of the songs. It's a great challenge for me at this time, and I think I have in my next songs I may try to improve that for them to be radio fit or radio usable, as my labels say, because the long songs are not played on radio on mainstream radios. Let's see. I have a lot of hope regarding concerning my new songs. They are somehow I think they are commercial songs. It's not a very extreme metal. No, I'm not on that wave. For me, I love Metallica. I think they have the sound that I love. The music they create is absolutely great from the beginning. Um, and I think more than that, for me, it's kind of exaggerated. And even Arch Enemy, for some persons, is very hard or considered hard metal. I don't think so because if you hear the song with a lot of attention, sometimes I hear Eurovision on their songs. Believe me, because they are Swedish and the melodies that Michael Emmett creates. If you strip them out of the distortion of the guttural voices, you'll hear the melodies, and they're classical melodies, completely classical. Some of them could be pop music. in some parts of his music. So it's the ambience that he creates that gives that kind of black metal. But this music is very commercial, as you could say. So, playing with my father and my brother was an incredible challenge as a young man, because we played these venues every Saturday. We had a venue that we played in a place in Lisbon that was called Aqua Park. It was a park with a lot of slides, water slides, and they had a big tent. And every Saturday we played there for hundreds, 500, 600,000, 600 people. I'm sorry. And it was a great experience for me as a boy because it was a full room. We had to entertain all those people every Saturday. They came from every place in Portugal to see us. And then my brother stepped out. He finished his studies too. It was a hard time when we met a new keyboard player. It's also my brother at the time, Bruno, and he's been my friend since then. Um, and we had this experience of playing together on these venues that it's absolutely unforgettable. I grew tired of playing live. Okay, on Venice. I grew tired. For us, it was exhausting at certain moments. We played 2 times a day. For instance, I could do a marriage, a wedding at afternoon, and then get all the gear and play on the bar at night until 4 a.m. in the morning. So it was really exhausting at that time. But I got a lot of good experiences on stage at that moment. Now I'm not really worried with stage. I think stage could be the next step on my project when the EP is finished, and it will have 4 more songs. I think they are interesting. They are pointing on different influences. I think one of them is probably can be in certain parts considered grunge or grungy, because I think I also have that in me. I love Fight No More, for instance, and bands from the '90s that kind of influences in grunge, and you can feel them if you really hear Raise Your Soul. You at certain parts they have certain moments that are grungy with the voice. I'm mixing everything. I mix everything that I love. So uh, some songs will sound more grungy than metal, and I'm betting on that. I want this album to be heterogeneous. I don't want to be only strictly metal from from the beginning to the end with a hammer on your head. No. So the first song I wanted to give a strong idea with Overload. I don't know if you have heard it. Overload is a strong song with a strong theme that concerns my life. Uh, I I have I had some health problems regarding work stress. So that song's theme is about that. It's warning everybody not to give up to work stress. Just try to free yourself from work stress to live your life more. Um, and that the main idea of the song, not be working all the time as I was and still am, but now I with more calm. And raise your soul is the second step. You try to elevate yourself to gather and receive the best, and put your life within the light. Receive the good ideas, receive the good feelings. And this song is all about and this project is all about this transformation or inner transformation that I want to pass to the other person, because this is a very serious problem at this moment. Um, we have to do better for ourselves every day, and I think I was not doing that, and I believe there are a lot of people that are not doing that. These songs have this purpose, this theme. I know this is not very usual in metal. Probably in metal you go for more esoteric themes or violent subjects or things like that. I'm not very interested in that. Like Metallica, for instance, on their latest album, one of the strongest themes that James put it on the table was suicide. Yeah, it's a very strong theme, of course. Subject. It's a very strong subject, of course. Um, and it was a nice idea from him for that music that he created and started talking about that on stage. I don't know if he had personal experience with that or not, but he certainly got to some audience. He certainly did that. So my idea, what am I going to sing about? So in the process of creation, I started to dwell in my own problems, and I believe that my problems are also common or are very common, and other people will feel them too. So the message is only that, and they can through my songs channel some of these feelings, these good feelings, because metal is not always about bad feelings. I think metal can be also be about some good feelings, and these two songs are about good feelings. One, free yourself from work stress, free yourself from stress, and then try to fly, try to live your life. That's the message that's it's in these lyrics. And raise your soul, open your mind, open your soul for the best in your life, for your sons, for your kids, for your family, to live your life before, as I say, the darkness comes, and the darkness is the destiny that everyone awaits. We our lives are have a time limit, unfortunately. So let's see. I'm now uh, presenting new themes from the main song of the album is Afterdome. It's an homonymous name as the band, and that song is about me discovering, or as anyone can do, discovering my interest for music, for metal music. So the lyrics is all about that. Uh, Notwithstanding all the pressure over me every day with my job and all that, um, I cannot, I could not lose this love for music, and I have to follow my art. So that lyric is about that. It explores that point of view. There's one song that is kind of interesting that you also it's Monster Lover. Uh, in that case, it was the first song that I recorded more seriously, and I will re-record it because I will improve everything now because now I'm learning how to record properly, recording 2 to 3 to 4 guitars overlaid, doing the solos and recording them twice. This kind of good practices from metal music that I'm learning, and I'm learning them. I have to say this with one guy that I praise a lot. That is Milan Steinbach. I don't know if he's hearing us or not, or if he will hear this podcast in the future. I praise him a lot because he's teaching me all these kind of techniques regarding recording that really, really, really improve your sound. Milan Steinbach at Point Break Recordings is a German studio at Cologne, and he was the one that mastered and mixed and mastered my songs and did a really great job, a really great job. Because I hear my recording, then I hear what he has done with the recordings, and I think that's a really good job with the voices and all that. Also created 2 video clips that are now on YouTube with a guy, Extra Cut Productions, is the studio that helped me with that. Uh, Hassan Bai, it's the person that is creating these videos. He's a very talented young man, and I love what he does because he absorbs like these ideas that I'm talking about and put them in video. So I gave him the ideas, and he explored them very well for the first video, the tunnel that represents each of the branches of and valves and tubes that go to the steampunk heart uh, um, in the design that I use for this song. And then we go out to the nature like an eagle flying over the mountains and all that. He explored very well those ideas. And in the second video, we thought about precisely the angels that are raising their arms for the sky, embracing the sky. So we used that kind of images that yeah that went very well on these two videos. I'm very pleased with them. They are lyric videos, of course. I'm not appearing on them because I don't feel yet comfortable as a solo artist to do that on metal. I think it passes a very better message if the videos are only lyric videos at this moment. But my dream, I have to say, if you if you want to talk about that, is to do this all live. Every musician's dream, every creator's is to show his art. So of course I would love this to do this all live. Believe me, I'm creating these songs thinking about playing them live. How would they work live? How many guitars would that require? How many musicians? How many voices? And I have it all. I have most of that figured out. As I'm creating, I never wanted to create a project and a song that was not playable live. I see that happening a lot nowadays. A lot of bands that you hear them, oh, incredible, and do that with synthesizers and all that, and probably using backing tracks and things like that. I don't know if they use them live, but certainly they use things like that on a recording. And I wanted the raw sound, like Metallica does. Guitars, drums, bass, no keyboards, no synthesizers, nothing like that. I know you can use them live also, but it becomes very it becomes music cosmetic. I don't know if this is a very good expression, but it doesn't feel natural to me. You can do it in certain points, but for instance, Mastodon has a song that I love, and they use they have a keyboard player, but it's for some entries or background sounds, not to use them as a main in a main riff, for instance. So I wanted to do a raw sound, and I'm thinking about these songs to play them live. Of course, I have to find my mate one day to do that, but I'm not very worried about that because when my work is finished, of course you could say, ah, but you could collect the influences from other musicians and do better with that because two brains think better than one. Yes, you're right, but that also requires some amount of time and dedication to each other that I don't have right now. And I'm still I'm doing this in a learning process at the same time. I'm learning and I'm recording, and I'm proud of the results, but I know I still can do better than this. Um, but this album is very humble on that point of view. I don't have great expectations or things like that of becoming a mainstream artist. I know I think a lot of people dream about that, and I respect that. But at this point in my life, that's not my objective. I want to do music that you enjoy hearing. I don't want to pass a message of extreme technicalities in music to be incredible guitarists and things like that, things that you never heard. I know there are some musicians out there that are doing that. And James, for instance, I heard every time I hear music he plays with incredible instrumental guitars. I think this guy is out of this guy's incredible. The way he records the guitar, the things he's doing is really innovating and doing. No, I'm not on that beach as we call it here. My objective is to do songs that you like to hear, that get in your mind, that are commercial, and you don't forget them so quickly. I think metal nowadays there are a lot of musicians are targeting for perfection, not probably not for an audience. That's one of the things that I love about old bands like Metallica, Megadeth. They target the audience. They are not hostages of the audience. They are not subjected to the audience, but they target the audience. They want to do music that you love to hear, that you want to hear, that gives you transmits you a feeling. Um, First time I heard them, the first time I heard them, my mind was blown out. I heard Injustice for All at my time. I was a little boy, and I heard Injustice for All. I said, "What the hell is this?" Then I heard after Master of Puppets, because the first time I heard Metallica was Injustice for All, because one of my colleagues at school brought that with in the cassette, and we started hearing the songs. I said, "What the hell is this? What?" And one of the first songs that I heard is "What One," of course, and we all it blew us apart at that time in 89, 90, around that. Um, because in 86 I was only 9, so I was not hearing Master of Puppets like the others were, and it never it arrived later, and I love the album also. But in 89, 90, I started hearing them, and I thought this is absolutely incredible music, and I wanted to play that. At the time, of course, I had a small garage band with all my friends, and we thought that's where I mostly learned how to play, because we had and we exchanged it with each other. There was no internet like today, no information like today. So we're passing out copies of some books that the guy had with all the tablatures from Metallica. And we started playing all those riffs and learning playing all those riffs with tablatures. So I'm not a musician. I cannot read music. Of course, I don't call myself a musician. I play an instrument. I know music, but I cannot say that I can read music and play. So, and I'm not worried about that, because I know that, of course, theory is important for a music, for a musician. But it's not the most important for the creation process. It's not. You can do great music without knowing music theory, without knowing theory. You have to know some things, of course. And if you see in my songs, I apply some different chords and variations, but uh, it's all in my head. It's not something that is created writing and reading, or doing some construction on paper, like I see some musicians doing. They are writing, and they're creating and writing at the same time. It's incredible. It's mind blowing. I do it, and then I record it in my recorder. And let's not forget this riff that I create. I pick up the guitar and started thinking about riffs. And then I started creating the drums that go along with those riffs. And the result is this. Uh, don't tell me how I did the drums, because in this second song, I spent more time creating the drums than recording the guitar, because I was creating the drums step by step, beat by beat, where they entered, when they finished, and note by note. It was a complex process, but the results is very satisfactory for me. And then Milan Steinbeck did one thing even better, because he received my MIDI file and said, I'm going to apply the sounds that I like. So it improved even more the sounds of the drums, as you can hear now. So this is it. This is my story. It's a very simple story, not probably not a typical metal musician story. Probably not.
Yeah,
But I'm a metalhead, that's for sure.
yeah, cool, cool. Yes, we've got a couple of questions from the live chat. From one of my moderators, she asks, Ocean 2025, do you have any plans to do tours? And if so, where? Obviously, you've got to
Oh,
get a band together to actually do a tour.
as I said, I have a lot of plans. That's my main goal, to play live. I would love to go to Canada and to the United States to play my music, because it's being well received there, I know. Um, but I still have to finish the EP. That's the main objective right now, because to put on a show, you have to have 1 hour, 1.5 hour of show of music. So 5 to 6, 7 songs. It will be the basis of this EP. It will also have a slower song, that my son absolutely loves. I will insert it in this album because he absolutely loves it. He asked me because it's not quite metal, but let's see. If you hear Planet Caravan, for instance, in Pantera's version, they finished their album, one of their albums with that song. It's not quite metal, and I love to hear that song. It soothes me a lot when I hear it, and that version specifically. Um, so it's kind of on that mood. I wanted to finish my album with that song, and I'm using probably some percussion in that song, inclusively, not only hard drums. So it will be interesting. So answering the question, I, if everything goes well, who knows? In 2026, I can start touring. Because in this process, I'm sure I'm going to find my mates. I'm sure because things are starting to get serious. It's not only one song; it's two. The label called me, and when the label called me, I said, I only released one song, and they already called me. They put me a contract to sign. I'm signing an international contract right now. It was a surprise for me, as you can understand. A lot of my friends said, "What? You are kidding? You're not signing with a label with one song." I am. I have this contract with them, and I have to record my songs. So it even backed a little more my will to do this until the end. So two songs will be released also, one in May and the other in August this year. And let's see until the end of the year what can I do because I'm working at the same time with a very demanding demanding profession that exhausts me every day. But I have to find the time to record this and to put these songs uh, out there. And I think I'm going to do it with two more songs, certainly because they are created. I only have to re-record some parts because most of the parts are already recorded and put them out. So in May and August, I will do that. Then I will have four songs until the end of the year. So if I can launch two more, I will have six. And I think I will be ready for touring. Then I will have to start thinking about this part of my career. And why not? And my songs are not too much intricate for musicians to play and to have them sharing with me this experience and even improving my songs if they want. I'm completely open hearted. And I almost put an ad on my Instagram saying who wants to cooperate with me on my songs and creation. But I didn't do that because I know I have to give those persons my dedication, my time. I have to be consistent with that. If I do not do that, I'm being unfair to them. Um so at this moment, let's see. I'm going to do it by myself because this is not will not be my first album, my only album, of course. I will do it again, and in this process, I am certain I'm going to evolve. Notwithstanding my age, I'm not a young man, of course, at this time, but I think age is not a limit in music. For instance, my father is 73 and he's still playing live. He plays every week. He never stopped because he loves the stage. Because he's a different kind of musician. Because he's an entertainer. He's not only a musician. He goes to the stage with a guitar and he puts everyone laughing and all that. I loved when I played with him because of that. Because we were not only a band. We were entertainers. We went to the stage to put everyone laughing and do the interaction with the public and all that. It was a different kind of show, not only music. But now I'm only focusing on music, and I'm starting to fulfill a little bit of my dreams. The first time I launched a song, I couldn't believe that I did that because 2 years ago it was only an idea in my head. I didn't have one single song written, a lyric written. Nothing was done, so I'm starting to materialize that day by day.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
during, I hope so, to 2026 would be an incredible objective to start touring.
Cool. Got another question from I'm 008. They ask, what instruments do you like to play?
I like to play bass. Bass is my main instrument. Uh, from the beginning, or from my formation, uh, I started playing all kinds of music, and I played with a Brazilian drummer for 6 years in a row. As you can understand, in my music, some kind of influences, if you see that from certain parts, because some of the percussion of the drums are have some Brazilian influences. When I'm playing at the end of the second solo on Radio Soul, we finish with this is Brazilian samba. And I inserted that in the song. You don't know that because I'm telling you, because but these influences that I have from rhythms, from Brazilian rhythms, will always influence the way that I'm configuring and creating my riffs. There's a great mix in my head regarding those stuff. So I started playing Brazilian music, playing bass in Brazilian music. It's incredible music to play and also to hear, of course. But that's not what touches me more. Metal touches me more. As I said, I'm a metalhead. That rage, that power, I feel it in my soul. It warms me. It helps me. It suits me. And aggressive music suits me because somehow all the frustration, all the negatives in our lives, metal helps us to cope with it. Okay.
Yeah,
Brazilian music is for party. It's for you to have a good moment. Of course, it's interesting with the rhythms and all that, but it's music, happy music, as I call it. And happy music is happy, but you are happy, but you are not inspired.
yeah,
Uh, so that was a great experience. My main interest is bass, but I'm starting to enjoy a lot playing guitar. And nowadays, somehow or sometimes I forget about bass and I'm not practicing as I should. And the other day, I picked the bass and I put my hand on the scale and I said, I have to return to the bass because I'm losing it a little bit. The trust, all it's a different instrument. The strings are different. Everything is different. The approach is different. The finger style is different. So I must not stop playing it, but it's my favorite instrument. But now I'm really enjoying playing guitar. I'm really,
yeah,
and I also like to sing. The voice is also an instrument, of course. I also like to sing. I always love singing. In my band, I was a bassist and a singer. In certain parts, we had two singers in the band with my father. My father sang. I also sang some songs in our band. Uh, Everything that you can say, Joe Cocker, Eric Clapton, The Doors. I was singing all those kind of repertory that we had with the soft rock, as I can say. I was singing. So I love singing. It's very good, and I love playing and singing at the same time. It's a great challenge. I love to do.
cool. So, when you going to be releasing the new songs, are you going to be releasing merchandise such as like T-shirts, or are you going to wait until the launch of the EP?
That's a very interesting question. I started thinking about merchandise weeks ago. I think it's a good idea now that I'm creating a project that has it's establishing itself. So I think it's a good idea to create and to have some merchandise. I had an offer that was made through Instagram of someone that wanted to use my images because but I'm still in the place, and I uh, embraced a practice that is now being done, for instance, by Arch Enemy. I understand they are doing this differently than in the past, because in the past they released an album, one single or two, and it's done. And then they released the full album. Now they are releasing the album song by song. Each song has a cover. It's not only a cover for and it's the same cover for all the songs. Now you go to the internet and you see each song has a cover. I did not do that on purpose because I am doing that from the beginning of my project because I was not really certain of what or which cover should I choose. So in Afterdome, I have thunders and all that because it's about the thunder that calls me to for metal. And the second song is Overload, it's a steampunk heart, almost blowing with the pressure. And in this case, it's Raise Your Soul, the angels and the eye that sees everything. So I'm creating also the covers and the images for each song. So how will I harmonize this with merchandise? It's interesting because I have not created yet a very defined logo of my name after the name of the project or a band, if you can call it like that. Um, Working with the label has helped me because they are using on the internet their website to promote my project. And the last lettering that I used after them, probably I will adopt it for the cover of the album. And I still don't know what will be, but that lettering probably I will use it. And if it's usable on the cover, it's usable on merchandise, T-shirts, and all and things like that. And I'm starting to develop and think about that too. So I have not finished it, and I'm still working on those aspects of this project. As I said, it's a work in progress all the time, and that part I will reach it to. I will reach it on time.
Cool. So, when you get like a bit of more music written and recorded and released, would you sort of like consider or plan on doing releasing your music on vinyl music?
I would
Yeah,
love to do. I
yeah,
would love to release on vinyl. Let's see how Tode Records and Metal Incorporated Records what they think about that because now they are distributing on online and on all platforms, and it's the new way to promote music. But I would love to distribute my music physically. I love vinyl. Oh, I really love vinyl, and I have a lot of recollection, and I know that vinyl is a new trend. I just saw talking about Arch Enemy because I follow them every day. They just released a new vinyl record. They're about to release their new EP, and their new vinyl record it's incredibly red as blood because the album will call Blood Dynasty. So it's incredibly red with spots of blood. It's incredible. It's not a gross thing to see. It's beautiful because they think they do the things beautifully. The themes the subjects sometimes are heavy, but they manage to do the things with quality. So I would love to do that. To have a vinyl, of course.
yeah. We've got another question from chat. Rhea Snakespeare has asked, when writing a song, what comes first, the music or the lyrics, and which do you find easier?
Oh, great question. That's the best question that you can make make us because that's the secret. That's the main secret. I have to say, the music starts first normally, and in metal, the composition, and you know that of the great bands, the great stories that you can see. Again, I have to speak about Metallica when they composed the Enter Sandman song. They started with the riff, and then the drummer corrected the riff, and the riff was contagious, and they built a song from the riff. In metal, you create the riffs, and then you create the melody, and then you create the lyrics. This is the normal procedure to create a song. Then you create the drums, but the drums as a guitarist, always thinking about the drums at the same time I'm creating the riffs. Because what will the drums sound here? What is it, do I need on this song to get it right? To transmit a good feeling about the riff. So this is the normal procedure. The riffs come first. In some cases, I've written songs for lyrics or for poems. But it's a much harder process. if the poem is not a very articulated poem. I did it for some Portuguese musics, and I have some Portuguese musics in Portuguese, and some of them were poems that we applied music and created music for them. It's much harder, believe me, much harder to do that because you have to be able to feel and also to how can I say this, um, to articulate the variations of the song with the lyric and have to have some meaning. So it's much easier to create the song, much easier first than the lyrics. The lyric process for me is not very hard. Incredibly, I sometimes I write. I'm able to write lyrics in one day. I think Overload. I wrote them in one day. I didn't spend much time thinking about it. It kind of flew out of me because I was thinking about it all the time. I work like I'm a lab rat. I'm always closing my office. I work like a dog. So I started putting these ideas on paper. It's an overload for me. I have to get out of these misconceptions about my life. So this went for the paper. It was easy. In this case, for me, of course, it was easy. On this case, Raise Your Soul was harder because it's a more intricate song with an intricate lyric.
Cool. Thank you for that. Thank you, Ray, for that. So, um, if anybody else has got any more questions, let us know. So, um, yeah, Ray has said that thank you. It's always interesting to know how musicians go about creating the music.
I think it's always interesting to know how musicians go about creating music. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very interesting. It's very interesting.
Yeah. So, any more questions? Please put it in the chat there. So, where can people find you on social media?
Where you can find me on social media?
Yeah.
You can find me on Instagram with my name Carlos R, and also Afterdome. If you will write it on search, you will find him right away. You can find me on the page of Solar Records and Metal Incorporated. They are from Canada, so it's www.solar.ca from Canada, and you'll find a link there for my project. It's my main web page at this time, and I'm not thinking about creating one on my own because I'm working with them and I'm pleased with all the images that and the time they are investing in me, and really humble about the fact they are betting on my project as a one man project. Um, so you can find me also on Facebook as you did. My page in Facebook is not so developed like in Instagram because I bet a lot on Instagram at the beginning. I thought it was the platform that could give me that I used more and it could give and it was more specific for this case because in here we were thinking about that Facebook was getting a little bit out of fashion today. So I didn't bet so much on Facebook, but in Instagram you can see that I have all the posts there and using it more to get more followers and if possible some fans.
Cool. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. So, this is probably going to be my last sort of like question. Any advice for people who want to become a musician?
I don't want to go to a common place, of course, or like follow your dreams or things like that. Because I think the main aspect in your life, and I'm 47, you have to do an effort to try to be happy. You have to do an effort to follow things that you love in your life. If you love metal, follow and play metal. Don't think about what everyone will think. As you may understand, in my family, in my social life, normally if I talk about metal, some people would say, that's a little extreme. You are a metalhead. I didn't know you were a metalhead because you don't act like one. That's a very wrong concept about person, and those kind of stereotypes really give me goosebumps and worry me about society because you should not do that. You should think for your head, and if metal is one thing that you love and inspires you, you should follow it. You should follow it like everything else in your life. And that's what I'm doing, and that's my message for everyone. Do what you think, and do what you love, in spite of your social position, of your if you're wealthy or not wealthy, if you have a complicated job or not. Bet on it and do it, because it's the best that we take from our life. It's what we love to do. For instance, you're doing that, this show, you love to do this show, talk with a lot of people. That's something you love to do. I love playing music, and I stopped at a certain time because of my job. I stopped playing music, and I was losing a lot of color in my life. My life was getting gray every day, if I can be poetic here. So music is bringing me back to life. It's bringing me the joy that I need in my life.
Yeah.
Personally, okay? So we have to think about us personally. I have my son. I love my son to death. My wife, all my family, and they fulfill me. But at a certain point, we have to be with ourselves. When we are with ourselves, we must be happy with ourselves, and 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 put out, if we need to put out, what we love. Why should I love metal and be myself? Even if I share this with friends, or even if I'm playing in the garage, uh, it's one type of manifestation. It is not enough. If you feel that your art might be interesting for someone, if you think, and I believe that my music might be interesting. I'm a little overwhelmed, I must say, because music has evolved a lot in the last 20, 25 years. And when you hear that on Spotify they are releasing more than 100,000 songs a day, and you go and hear the other bands, and it's incredible work. I will never reach this kind of quality that they're doing. The perfection of the songs nowadays is absolutely amazing. I try not to think about that. I'm offering my music and I put it out there because I believe that someone will hear and will enjoy it, and it's happening.
Yeah.
So
True.
that is bringing me a lot of joy because I like to put out my emotions. That's like what can I say?
Yeah.
This is the right expression. I like to put out my emotions. If someone loves to hear it, great. I will be very happy with that. That's the main compensation for me with this project. Okay.
Yeah. Ria said that is great. That is a great message. Never mind stereotypes. Just be yourself.
Precisely. Precisely.
And Aussie and 2025 says so. Yes, very very true. Very true.
Thank
So
you.
Carlos, any final words before we start wrapping things up?
Yes, I am just thanking you a lot for this invite and for the ability to be here and speak about my project. Uh, I love to speak about these teams. It's the first time someone invites me for a thing like this, and it's a good omen, as I say in my song. It's a good omen for the future that someone is calling me and speaking with me about my music. It's very refreshing for me, and it's auspicious also. So thanks a lot for this invite and for the opportunity to be here speaking with you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. If you haven't already, guys, go check out Carlos's project Afterdome. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And all the links to his socials, like such as Facebook, Instagram, so on and so forth, are down in the description. So go check them out. And Carlos, thank you so much for coming on. It's
Oh,
been a total
well,
pleasure.
it's for me. It was a pleasure. Very, 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 very nice to meet you all.
Yeah, you too, you too. So, guys, go check out Carlos and his project Afterdome. And yeah, so until next time, guys,
Next time,
we'll catch you all later.
good chatting. Thank you. Thanks a lot.